You're a cantaloupe.
5 long years he wore this watch up his ass.
These are my cactuses. I put googly eyes on them.
Sometimes when I'm driving, I have this sudden impulse to turn the wheel quickly, head on into the oncoming car.
Peter Pan has found a mother.
You want me to say what? Like, I don't get it. Is that it?
The ice is gonna break!
All right, everyone, welcome back to Walken 101, the podcast where we watch every Christopher Walken project in chronological order, one project at a time. Now, that could be movie, television show, play, whatever we can get our hands on. I'm Kenny Johnson, documentary filmmaker, editor, friend of nature.
Well, all right. Another notch on your belt there.
Right.
I'm Brandon Hardesty. I feel awkward saying I'm an actor because there are times when I'm working really a lot and I can say confidently I'm an actor, but when I haven't worked for like a year and you ask me to introduce myself and like who I am and what I do,
Right.
it feels a little odd.
Well,
so I'm just putting that out there.
I thought you just did something recently.
I did.
Okay.
It was 2 days. It was like a political thriller. It was shot in Norfolk, Virginia. But I guess I'm not like, my bread and butter isn't coming from acting right now. So I don't know what to call myself.
Entertainer, entrepreneur,
Sure. Oh, I like that.
friend, lover, responsible peer.
I'm also feeling like I've listened to our last 2 podcasts and I feel like I need to give more energy. So if it seems a little artificial, my energy, I'm trying to make it organic, trying my best.
Right. Well, what you people aren't seeing is he's literally dancing right now.
I'm
The
off
energy.
the walls.
Yeah, I mean, he's bouncing all over the place.
Oh, man.
So don't let the voice fool you. Okay. So anything new with you? Anything new in life besides your political thriller?
Let's see. I'm still making the videos for IMDb. I just got back from a bachelor weekend, I guess. It was fun, reasonably fun. Just drove back from Ocean City.
So you're exhausted right now, probably.
I was falling asleep at the wheel driving back. I didn't get a lot of sleep. But I knew. I texted you at probably 2 in the morning, and I said, "We still good for 3 p.m. Walken 101?" Because I'm there.
Yep.
I'll be there. I'm drunk right now,
I did see that,
but I'm gonna be there tomorrow.
I saw that. I woke up to that this morning, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm still good.
Okay. All right.
I was
Good.
like, yeah. I mean, I didn't really do too much this weekend. It was actually pretty nice for once, and not a busy weekend of editing or staring at the computer all day.
Yeah.
I saw the wonderful film, the comic book adaptation of The Suicide Squad, or just Suicide Squad. I guess we take the out of almost every title now.
Yeah.
And by wonderful, I mean absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
It was.
I figured.
It was. I have a joke with my friends. Anytime we see a movie on like a preview for a movie on television, where they give like these little critical things, like critics are saying it was wonderful, it was funny, it made me feel alive. They just eventually just start saying words now. So I'm like, it was a movie. It was a movie. Things happened in it.
Yeah.
It was just, oh man. I mean,
Well, it kind of reminds me of what's that old Steve Martin bit where he goes, have you ever had an actor friend where he invites you to his play and you watch it and it's really not good, but you have to come up with things to say to him after the fact, but not lie. So you're like, wow, you guys really came together and did this thing, you know?
Yep.
I mean, there it was.
There it was. It was Will Smith playing Will Smith. It really was. And that was my whole thing about this movie. There's just nothing to it. I mean, don't waste your time with it. I was more entertained by me and my brother last podcast than that. I remember more from that movie than I saw in Suicide Squad. And I saw Suicide Squad like a couple of hours ago. I don't remember much about the movie. All right, so what did we watch this time? For this episode, we watched Hawaii Five-0.
Yep, the original Hawaii Five-0 from I guess it started in 1968. This was the second season.
Yes, it was 1970, I believe.
1970. Christopher Walken is in it. It's 53, 63. You're doing a little math right now.
Right.
Give me a minute. 27 years old in this episode.
This was episode 18 of season 2.
17, I believe.
17, yeah.
And It doesn't matter. Why would
Does it matter?
Does it really matter if I correct
Someone
you?
could be looking it up. Someone could be looking it up.
That's true. I
you know?
have people do that all the time.
All right.
Yeah.
It's either 17 or 18.
Okay.
We'll let you decide.
So our the thing about TV from 1970s is it's shit. It's really absolute shit. And it's funny, like we were talking about before we watched it, and as we were watching this, we talked about like movies in the 70s were amazing. Mm-hmm. It was like you were saying how the film, the studio structure had collapsed.
Yep.
And the whole film was being handed over to this younger generation, and we get these amazing movies coming out, and kind of Easy Rider was a catalyst.
Yeah.
But it's like TV did the opposite. It just got worse. It got dumber, and it was pretty boring.
Yeah. And actually, here it is. It's a perfect little segue because we brought up Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And how all these like uncreative, just they're television shows now. These movies that are in theaters now with the comic book adaptations, they're in these multi-universal type of things. It's television. So all the cool kind of creative stuff and creative people have went to television now.
Oh, yeah.
And all the kind of just whatever's bland and left over goes to the movies. So it's like, you have these fantastic shows like Mad Men, even Walking Dead, almost anything that's on AMC.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's a lot more creative. There's a lot more symbolism. There's a little bit more thought put into it. While the movies are the complete opposite thing. It's just bland. It's gray goop at the end of the day. It's something that everybody could sit down and watch. And that's how television was back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Just, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in history back then. And television was just an easy place to escape to. Here's a great little show. It's set in Hawaii, and Jack Lord, he's got some nice hair, and he's got his suit.
Yep.
Very simple and easy to digest. Everything is self-contained in one episode. We solve the case.
Yep.
In 42 minutes.
And wow, Hawaii looks great.
Yep.
We've never seen an episode of Hawaii Five-0, and we watched the intro to this, and it was like this 1-2 punch after another, showing you shots of Hawaii and the hula skirt girl dancing and
water, lots of water. Then cool stuff. Then Jack Lord is on top of a balcony, and it's like a slow zoom in, and he whips around, and
he's a
Jack Lord.
He's a cartoon character.
Yeah,
it's funny. He's just doing that cop that I don't know, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean he was a cop with a heart of gold. Though at the end of the day, he tried to help. I guess you want to explain the plot of this episode?
I guess the plot would be, okay, so two friends in the Navy.
Yeah.
They see a guy as they're out, like just walking around. They see a guy who had gone AWOL from the Navy. Mm-hmm. So they confront him, and then there's a scuffle. Christopher Walken is one of these guys from the Navy.
He's the first thing that we see in this episode.
It was actually nice. So I thought we were going to have to be another scavenger hunt waiting for Christopher Walken.
Right.
So the Navy officer that is not Christopher Walken gets in a scuffle with the AWOL officer. A gun is fired. The Navy officer dies, and later on, Walken is questioned. He's kind of a suspect. And that's his part. And at first, I'm watching this thinking about it like what it is. It's a procedural crime drama. And when you are a guest star, when you are in one episode of a procedural crime drama, you're either a witness or you're a victim. Like a reluctant witness, like, I don't know. And then the cop convinces you, no, come on, you got to tell us. And then they do. But no, this was actually a step above. This was, Walken ended up being... they turned it on you at the end.
Mm-hmm. We thought Walken was the best friend. Well, he was. He was the best friend of the guy who got shot. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that Walken accidentally shot his best friend. Yeah. During the whole scuffle, I believe the AWOL officer's name was Johnny, and he was somehow... He was, I guess, Jack Lord's character had kind of befriended him in some way, or befriended the family, and said, "Hey, this kid needs to be set on the right path. I'm going to send him into the Navy."
Right.
And so Jack Lord felt responsible for this guy. So I think initially everyone thought, okay, it was Johnny, the AWOL guy. Just naturally, he shot the other officer. Mm-hmm. So everyone's like, closed case, done. But no, Jack Lord, not on
Jack
his watch.
Lord is the one that takes the second look.
Right. And it turns out that during the scuffle, I guess Christopher Walken pulled his gun and he was trying to shoot Johnny, the AWOL guy, but he accidentally shot his best friend, killed him.
Yep.
And then eventually Walken just makes a move on the AWOL, his dead friend's widow.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So if we're talking about his character, the very first impression we get about Christopher Walken in the show when we first see him is he's lecherous. He's like on the prowl. He's walking down the sidewalk with his friend. He just has this look in his eyes. And his friend, I think the first line is, "Hey, you want to do something or other tonight?" He goes, "No, I have other plans." And he's just looks this woman up and down like he just wants to fucking eat her.
Yeah. It's pretty. So already at this point, you're like, I guess he's kind of a shady character, but then we forget about him. Mm-hmm. He comes back for a little bit because I guess he and his other Navy friends decide to go torture the AWOL officer's family by just getting into a scuffle or something, just being a jerk. He's just a jerk. Yeah, this Walken character. So the whole time, I mean, we're sitting there watching it, sort of in and out, kind of joking about it, making interesting observations of the campiness of 70s shows and how interestingly it was filmed. At one point, you could see either someone had a bounce card or they're just shining a giant light on some of the actors' face, and they're outside, right? They're outside on the side of this mountain, and you could see the light kind of like move all over the place, and we're trying to get it so it's hitting Jack Lord's face so he looks good. So we were distracted by it, and then finally we get back to another at the end of the show, almost probably at the 36-minute mark. Walken comes back in. And Jack Lord, he's put it all together. He's got this puzzle, and he's like, "All right, I got it. I'm gonna go face down Christopher Walken." And I don't call the people by the characters' names at all. I call them by the actors' names. That's how I remember them.
I do that. You know what? I do that too sometimes. I kind of mix and match depending on how iconic the character is.
I'm gonna pretty much call Christopher Walken in any role that he's in Christopher Walken during this podcast.
I mean, I think that is going to help let less confusion.
Yes. So anyway, so we finally get to the point where we have these two characters. They're together in a scene, these two actors, and they're just going to exchange dialogue. You're like, yeah, finally. And then that's when we kind of just like settled in and we watched it. I don't know if we were so engaged because of doing this podcast, or I really think just because Walken is a good actor.
Yeah.
But if I'd shot Fred, why would I want to hide it? An accident, man, in the line of duty. Nobody could fault me.
You could fault yourself. Ask yourself for the rest of your life, when you pulled that trigger, was it Molly you were aiming at or Fred?
Why would I want to shoot Fred? He was my best friend.
Getting too close to the truth?
Look, that's a theory. A lousy theory, but you hang somebody with facts, and the fact is, I never fired my gun.
I was watching this thinking, it looks like they hired him just for his look at first. Because at first I'm thinking, this is a part that anybody could do. And it's almost like, another thing this makes me think of is, I feel like at this point, and again, I can only assume, but Walken was probably in a part of his career where he had to serve the material a lot of the time and just give them what they want. And we had a strong feeling that he was hiding his New York accent big time. Yeah. He sounded, instead of sounding like this young kind of Walken that we kind of expected. Yeah. He sounded like this all-American Navy. I'm sorry, It was this weird. It just didn't match it.
No,
and
it crept in a little bit. His accent crept in when I thought like he was really into the moment and really into the scene.
Yeah, when he got emotional, it came out a little bit of that New York.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I mean, because the dialogue. Oh man, the dialogue on this show. It's cheesy.
Yeah, it's so whatever. It's 1970s.
It's so corny and hammy But Walken just seemed, I don't know, just make it seem a little bit more natural.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, that's your job, is just make this look as natural as possible. And he did a good job. He had a good scene in the end where he was upset and he finally confessed. Mm-hmm. There was the big confession, like, I meant to shoot him and not my best friend, and all these conflicting feelings about this, and emotional. It was good.
Right. And now you've had experience with working on sets and working on coming in to work on a television show, for example. You've had that experience. Like what's that like when you kind of first walk onto a set and everybody knows everybody?
Yeah.
And we're all chummy, and then you kind of walk in as the guest.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's funny. I had always heard, watching the documentary, that guy in that thing, that guy who was in that thing, they all talk about that. Like, when you're a guest star on a show, you just show up, you just get on your mark, say your lines, do your job, that's it, and then leave. And you're not there to make friends. They all have this whole, they have a family.
Right.
Especially if it's been on for like a really long time. The one time I remember feeling that way was I was on the very last episode of a canceled Nickelodeon show after 2 seasons called The Haunted Hathaways, which was about a family that moves into a house in New Orleans, and the house is haunted by a father and his 2 sons who died.
Okay.
They're ghosts, and then they learn to live together, which...
Wait, what? They live with the ghosts of their parents?
No, wait. There are two families.
That's creepy.
There's a mother and 2 daughters. They move into this home in New Orleans, and they find out that the home is haunted by a father and his 2 sons. It's kind of like the Brady Bunch, only
ghosts.
Half of the family is dead. And there's
so the dead father, the ghost father, gets together with the live mother. Is that
no!
Like an okay, like do they have a half baby, half ghost?
No, they don't. They never get to that point.
Oh,
they just learn to live together, and it's also against ghost rules to do this. I know.
Jeez,
yeah, the church get you at every turn.
I just want the half baby, half ghost. What would that be like? What do you think that would half of the body be like? Normal and solid, and the other half would just be ghost like, or would it be half of the top half would be solid of the baby, and the bottom half would be like a little Casper ghosty floaty thing?
I think the rules in this show, when I read the script and you try and figure out the universe of the show, it's like these rules don't make any fucking sense, because they needed to get to the ghost world. The live family needed to get into the ghost world. In order to do that, they needed to find ectoplasm, which was pretty much ghost sweat. So they made a ghost run around the house and sweat, got all their ectoplasm, and then
this sounds insane.
Dumped it on themselves so that they can get to the ghost world. But in the ghost world, if they have the ectoplasm on and it dries off, then they're stuck. So there's a time limit there. Anyway... all that aside,
wow.
All that aside, I walked onto the set of this playing a half man, half dinosaur ghost landlord.
Why were you half dinosaur? Did they ever explain that?
Well, okay. There is another rule. There's another established thing in the Haunted Hathaways where if you're a ghost, you can snap your fingers and you can become anything you want.
So you chose dinosaur.
Well, what was originally written in the script was that I had the only way to do it, the only way to change your body to whatever you want to do is to snap your fingers and do it. I snapped my fingers and I became half man, half dinosaur with a tail, legs, and T-Rex arms. And it was written into the script that I was stuck that way because I couldn't snap my fingers back.
Because you have dinosaur hands. Okay. If my child came to me explaining me the rules behind this show, I'd be like, "What's wrong with you? This is insane." When you explain a show like this out loud, you sound like a crazy person. Good God.
It was so anyway. The feeling walking onto the set, I introduced myself to everybody. Hey, what's up? And you're very much you just show up and you do your job.
So I wonder if Walken had any of those experiences when he was on the set of Hawaii Five-0, walking in, feeling like he should have dinosaur hands instead of human hands.
I get the sense that Walken is.
Do you think he knew at the time? He's like, man, this is good. I'm getting experience, but like, I'm ready to do something bigger because he's coming from at this point. He's probably done a lot of theater.
Yeah,
he's acted. He's experienced, and you can even tell like when he's in that scene with Jack Lord, He really owns it, and he really takes over that whole scene.
Yeah, totally.
And he completely, like, even Lord just like, ugh, fuck.
And Jack Lord is like
Pissed.
Yeah,
He's probably fucking angry. He's like, this kid's out acting me.
yeah.
So
I don't think you know what? I don't think Jack Lord gave a shit.
he
honestly.
did not.
He was this was on for 12 seasons. He showed up every day in Hawaii to work, collected his paycheck, and retired. I don't know what he did after this, but he's just this is his legacy. It's Hawaii 5-0.
But I kind of got the impression that Walken was like, even people behind the camera, like, man, this kid's ready to blow up. He's ready to do something. He's going to be something big.
And I think I think a big reason they hired him for this was just his look. I think they needed to find somebody. Imagine going through a bunch of headshots and you see Christopher Walken's face and you're looking for a character that you should at first the audience should not really fully trust him.
Yeah.
And he's a little,
It's those eyes.
it's the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the eyes. These beautiful fucking green eyes, I gotta
And
say.
blonde hair.
Beautiful blonde hair.
He just looked like this really good-looking dude back then. He had a little bit of his crazy bug-eyed features and his,
yeah.
but he still, looked the part.
Yep, he had this all-American look to him.
Yep.
And he did a great job.
Yeah.
Really not much else to say about that. This is another notch in his resume.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking about it like a 27-year-old actor who's done what looks to be about 8 or 9 other projects before this, then slowly building up that resume. So
Right.
good for him.
It's no, what was the show that you did? The Ghosts of
Haunted Hathaways.
Yeah, it's no Haunted Hathaways, that's for sure.
Yeah, the one thing that bugged me about Haunted Hathaways, one of the many things, I guess, was, are they ever gonna? Number one, okay, the family is ghosts, but the actors are obviously gonna age. There's 2 child actors.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to explain that. But I'm sure they'll throw some fucking weird ghost logic in that if the show were to have continued.
Right.
And second of all, how did the family die? They were going to explain that? Were they ever going to get to that?
Murdered.
Was it a hot car accident? Was it a homicide or something?
What if they just committed suicide? Like it was like a family suicide. Well, we're gonna kill ourselves now. Come on, little Timmy. We can't get any better in life than where we are. So might as well check out the ghost world.
Yeah.
It just the logic there is so crazy. Why? How do you even pitch a show like this to a kids network? Well, it's half ghosts and half regular people, and they're gonna live together. Is it gonna be weird? No, they do throw goop on themselves and run around and try to stay sweaty and sticky so they don't get stuck in the ghost world.
That was only that one episode when they've been to the ghost world a few times beforehand, and one of the little daughters knew the rule, like, we need ectoplasm, and then she dumped it on herself.
Ghost jism on themselves. They're pouring it on themselves, basically.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow, how did they get the ectoplasm? It was just ghost sweat that just collected? But you said somebody had a ghost run around the house.
Well, okay. So the ghost family gets sucked back into the ghost world in the beginning of this episode. See your look on your face. Like, God. They get sucked back into the ghost world. Barry Bostwick is the supreme judge of he's trying them because ghosts are not supposed to live with living people.
The normies.
Right. They can coexist, but you're supposed to be haunting them and scaring them. You're not supposed to be getting along with them. So this is a very unusual situation. So they said you're banned from the real world, so they get stuck in the ghost world. That's where my character came in, because they moved him into a shitty ghost condominium or apartment for rent, and I'm the landlord.
But they didn't have a problem with you?
What do you mean?
The ghost laws didn't have a problem with you because you're just letting normies live in your apartment, right?
Oh, no. I live in the ghost world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am a landlord of a ghost.
I thought you were the landlord in the normal world as a ghost. That would have been crazy.
Oh, no, yeah.
With dinosaur hands.
That would have been a step too far. Let's not get crazy.
Come on, let's pump the brakes here. Oh, my God.
Anyway.
The rules of this show. What are the rules of Hawaii 5-0?
Hawaii 5-0 seems to be like, okay, the rules in the Hawaii Five-0 universe. Mm-hmm. It seems to be. Didn't we look up on Wikipedia that it's based on a real militia that was
took over in the 40s.
Took over in the 40s,
right around. Well, because I mean, Hawaii's always kind of basically been a glorified military base,
right? So
yeah, okay.
so they have this. They have martial law, so it's like a police procedural crime drama. Which even in 1970, there have been a lot of those, especially in like the 40s and 50s on TV. But there's a little bit of a twist because they don't have the same. It's a little edgy, you know. Maybe they don't have the same rules, you know, as the precinct in New York. They do things a little differently down there in Hawaii. And it's just...
they got to make sure Jack Lord's hair is always looking good.
Jack Lord's hair, he had this perfect strand of... Really, I think it cut from the tidal wave to then his face, and I couldn't tell the difference.
No. Oh, man. Gorgeous. Gorgeous head of hair.
Amazing.
All right. Well, that about concludes, I would say, episode 3. Mm-hmm. What do we have to look forward to for our next episode, episode 4?
That is an excellent question. Give me 1 second here. Christopher Walken IMDb page in front of me. The next thing we have is a movie called The Anderson Tapes.
Anderson Tapes, where he plays the kid.
The kid, which he doesn't have a name, so I'm guessing he's going to show up for 2 minutes.
Sean Connery stars.
And the plot of it is, after Duke Anderson is released from prison after 10 years for taking the rap for a scion of a mafia family, he cashes in a debt of honor with the mob to bankroll a caper. Who gives a fuck? That's
well, it's directed by Sidney Lamont. So
wow. I didn't even know that.
That could be good.
The plot sounded very boring when I just read it, but I didn't realize it was Sidney Lumet. That's interesting.
Is it Lumet or Lumont? I don't know how do you say it.
It's spelled Lumet. Where are you getting the Mont?
Well, I don't know. That's how I always said it. Don't take my word for it. Oh, there he is. Look, there's a nice little image of him.
Oh, yeah. All right. Got a little taste of him. His hair's longer and wavier.
Yeah.
Seems dreamier.
Sidney Lumet. I'm going to double check on that.
All right. You get back to me.
All right. All right. Yeah. So that's our next episode. The Anderson Tapes. 1 hour, 39 minutes. Crime drama. Released 1971. So, that about does it for episode 3. Any other things we want to plug? Any other little things we want to sneak in there?
Not really. I mean, if anyone wants to check out No Small Parts, my documentary web series, and Kenny and I did the most recent episode. We're pretty proud of it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Josh the Ponce Man Perry.
Hopefully we'll be doing some more soon.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out when and where we're going to be going. So, all right, everyone. Tune in next time when we watch the Anderson Tapes. And as always, please continue listening, subscribing, telling people about this, downloading the episodes, passing it on, letting people know about this crazy, insane journey we're going on. And I gotta think of like a thing to say at the end here, like keep it real, keep
walking.
Keep a walking to remember.
Walking.
I'm walking on sunshine.
Thanks for
thanks for walking with us. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
That's how we're gonna close the podcast now. Thanks for walking with us.
Thanks for walking with us.